All right. Now we're going to look at special right triangles. And an isosceles triangle, remember that the altitude, the median, and the angle bisector are all the same thing. And does it hold true for an equilateral triangle? Yes, of course, because an equilateral triangle is also an isosceles triangle. It's just a subset of it. So this triangle below is equilateral. Um, this is the altitude, the median, and the angle bisector. So if we wanted to find the value for x, that's 60 because it's equilateral. This is cut in half, so that's 30. So this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now, if we want to find w, since it's half of this whole side, we know this is 4. Now to find h, we can do 4 squared plus h squared is equal to 8 squared, and solve for our height. And this is root 16, root 3, and so it's going to be 4 root 3 for our height. So if our height is 4 root 3, we have everything we need. Great. Now, I probably go through this slowly. If you want to take a second and look at it with legible writing, there you go. So let's try another one. If this is 12, we just want to find this h. We know this is 6. We can use Pythagorean theorem. 6 squared plus h squared is equal to 12 squared. 36 plus h squared is equal to 144. If we subtract by 36 on both sides, what's that? 108. And if I square root 108, that's going to be square root of 36 times the square root of 3. And h is going to be 6 root 3. That's not h squared, that's, yeah. So 6 root 3 is our value. Hopefully by now you can see that if we take 12, cut it in half, you get 6. Multiply by the square root of 3, and you get that. So that happens in every 30, 60, 90 triangle. So 8, 4, 4 root 3, 12, 6, 6 root 3. So if we wanted to do this one, we have 5 and 10. This side is just going to be 5 root 3. 6 and 3, 3 root 3. So it's a shortcut. We don't have to use Pythagorean theorem every time when we know what the answer is going to be. So in this case, if the short side is x, the hypotenuse is 2x, and the third side is x times the square root of 3. X times the square root of 3, and the other one's 2x. There you go. All right. So now, if we want to find a missing side, this would, if that's 18, this would be 9. This would be 9 times the square root of 3. Now we're done. Well, I'll let you guys work on those. Now, a new type of triangle is half of a square. So if I take a square and cut it in half, this would be 45, 45. And since that's half of a square, if that's 3, this has to be 3. And this one, if we do the math, c squared, that's 9 plus 9. That's 18. And the square root of 18 is the square root of 9, square root of 2. And so that's going to be 3 root 2. And we can do the same thing here, 10 and 10. And it's going to be 10 squared plus 10 squared is equal to w squared. And so that's 100 plus 100, that's 200. Square root of 200 is square root of 100 times square root of 2. And that's 10 times the square root of 2. All right, so hopefully you see the pattern. In a 45, 45, 90, two sides are the same, and the diagonal or the hypotenuse is going to be 10 times, or that number times the square root of 2. So if this is x, this is x, this is x times the square root of 2. Oh, it's there, it's just kind of floating a little bit. All right. Now I'll do one problem. If that's 27, this side is going to be 27. And this side is going to be 27 times the square root of 2. All right, I'll let you do the rest of these problems here. Now to get a little bit more challenging, this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. That's half of an equilateral triangle. So if this side, the hypotenuse is 10 root 3, this side is going to be half of that. half of 10 root 3 is going to be 5 root 3. Now to go from the short side to this side, I multiply by the square root of 3. Huh. So 5 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 3, that's 5 times the square root of 9. Well, I know 5 times the square root of 9 is 5 times 3. And so this whole side is going to be 15. That's it. All right, let's try another one. If that's root 6, this side is root 6. And we multiply the short side times the square root of 2 and a 45, 45, 90. So that's root 6 times root 2, that's root 12. That's great, but we can take something out of there. Root 4, root 3. So this is just going to be 2 times the square root of 3. All right. Um, I'll leave that one